Okay, so I wanted to follow up on my Tell TM video where I asked the question, is Seiko 5 good for the hobby? Appropriately, I am wearing my modded SKX007 today. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. So, before I get started, I wanted to just mention very quickly that the major purpose for me doing this type of format is it helps me learn. And I've learned a lot already just by asking that simple question, especially how much I really don't know, which I've been very transparent about. But that's the great thing about this hobby is there are so many knowledgeable people in this hobby. I got some great comments, took me on a journey to learn some other stuff, so it's been hugely beneficial. So I want to keep on doing this, and I appreciate you guys, commenting and, continuing the discussion. So my answer to that question initially was yes, that the Seiko 5 is important for the hobby. Now, in terms of responses, overwhelmingly that was the same answer. So I don't think that was surprising at all. But now I kind of want to go just a little bit deeper on that. So I mentioned that part of my asking this question is for me to learn. And when I asked the question, I think I got a little confused when I was kind of showing the initial vid. For some reason, I was thinking that the Seiko 5 was newer per se, and I think I confused that with the fact that all those new Seiko diver type watches came out. So I was kind of confused, so I apologize for that. I knew there were other Seiko 5s out there. I knew that the logo had changed. So when I was speaking, I probably didn't make a whole lot of sense. What I didn't really realize, though, and I'm going to link a video down below, Amin Reviews did a wonderful job going through the history of what led up to the SKX007, and then also did a super job in terms of where he sees it going. So again, I'm going to link that down below. It's a little longer, but well worth it, especially if you're a Seiko fan, which I'm realizing that I feel that I am, considering one of my next watches I'm thinking about is a Seiko. So with that being said, I learned about the rich history about the brand, the Seiko 5 especially, something that's been around for 50 years. And so one of the things I like about another channel I like to watch is the channel is Pete at Not So Obvious Watches, but he talks about, and I don't think I ever really got this totally, and I think I'm starting to get it now, so it was like a little light bulb epiphany, but it was like, as a collector, what we want to attach to, right? And so that's probably a whole other discussion, but I kind of got it, watching Amin's review really just made me want to learn more about Seiko and that rich history. So I'm maybe not a fanboy yet, but I kind of feel like I'm going down that path. You start to get things. So that rich history, there were other comments about that rich history too as well. So with that being said, the history of the Seiko 5, I don't see how it cannot be good for the hobby. Like we kind of said, that it was an affordable introduction into the market that allows folks to get hooked on watches. And in my view, what is not good about that, right? So one more thought to unload, and then I'll wrap it up. Okay, so the last point I wanted to talk about came from a comment that I received that said the commenter did not believe that Seiko 5 advanced the hobby. And I don't necessarily agree with that statement, and I think I understand where it comes from. And to support kind of what I'm thinking on this, I'm going to link a video down below that's from Teddy Baldazar's channel. Now, Teddy, a while back, interviewed Jean-Claude Beaver. Jean-Claude Beaver, if you don't know, headed companies like Wampon, Omega, Hublot, Tag. I believe he's currently at Tag. And so Teddy asked him a question about the Apple Watch and what that kind of means, for watches and the future of watches and so forth. And the takeaway I took from that was that Jean-Claude indicated that nothing that puts a watch on the wrist, right? And I think, we can talk about how we define watch. The way that Jean-Claude defined a watch is something that tells the time. Doesn't mean that it doesn't do other things. And as we know, we've got multiple complications on watches that do all kinds of things. And then you add a G-Shock and the sky's the limit, right? But anyway, again, I digress. So, but he was talking about how it's one of those things that it gets people, like the Apple Watch specifically, gets people used to wearing a watch, right? And then eventually, as they proceed through life, they're going to want to individualize what they're wearing on their wrist. And if you think about it, how many options are there out there for men for jewelry? I mean, I've got my wedding ring on and I've got my watch on. That's all I have. And so, as folks potentially become more affluent or pay stuff off, have more discretionary income, how are they spending that? And if you think about somebody younger today that maybe is just wearing that Apple Watch, they are still wearing a watch, and at some point in time, they may be looking at something else to kind of bring a more individualistic aspect, to what they like to wear. And so, like I said, I found that very, very interesting. And so what does that have to do with Seiko 5? I think it's the same. I think the same argument can be made for Seiko 5, right? It's, again, go back to Amin's review. If you go back to that, it talks about the progression of that Seiko diver up to the SKX 007 and then this dive style watch. His mindset, which I agree with, is that it's not going to stop there. It's going to evolve into something else. And you get people hooked on that Seiko 5 with those styles that have been modded over time. So many mods, so many mods have been done on those, and those new Seiko 5s are showing that it's going to be a great thing for the hobby as they progress forward. Now, the argument that comes up a lot of times is that they're not quality, they cost too much, they're not a value. Amin again mentions this, that what is the street price, and I think as we look at stuff, we have to determine that too as well. We're looking at an MSRP. However, what are they really going for? What are they going to go for used? And fundamentally, do we think as collectors or as geeks in this hobby, so to speak, do we agree with Amin's sentiment that it's not going to stop there? I agree 100%. I would be amazed if it doesn't go further. So again, the fact that if you get some younger folks potentially, I'm not sure who's buying Seiko 5s to be honest. I think it's probably all over the place. But if you get somebody that's their first watch, and then they love the watch, and it propels forward, you've done some stuff for the hobby there too as well. So that's it, guys. I appreciate y'all listening. I'm going to develop another question, probably drop it midweek. This is a great learning opportunity for me. I really appreciate everybody. I know this isn't everybody's cup of tea, but I think it's a way to engage in the hobby that I really enjoy, and I hope you guys continue to come along. And as always, stay positive, make friends, enjoy the journey. I'll talk to y'all real soon. Take care.